Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 o'clock, January 6, 2021 will be front and center on primetime TV. The House committee investigating the Capitol riot is set to make their case tonight, although both parties remain divided on the findings.
These hearings will be a chance for the country to come together, to rally around the truth and unite around the rule of law.
Their focus on attacking their political opponents is so strong, they don't care about the rules.
So we are live in Washington this morning with what to expect from the live hearings and the charges Coloradans face in connection with the attack.
A new tool to keep students and teachers safe is coming to one Colorado high school.
Wherever the device is activated in the school, the law enforcement will know, or responding agencies will know exactly where it was activated.
And on the same night as the House passed several gun safety bills, President Biden calls on all Americans to take action.
We got to make sure that this becomes a voting issue.
Yeah, a rare late night TV appearance for the president as he appeals to Jimmy Kimmel and his audience, hoping to cast a net over the gun control debate and get a younger generation involved. So we'll have more of that conversation with Jimmy Kimmel coming up. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Now we're going to get a look at our forecast. And really, Lisa, just yesterday, nice, warm, summer-like day. Is that going to continue?
It was beautiful. Yeah, today's going to be a little warmer, though. A little sweatier this afternoon. Mid to upper 80s for highs. Beautiful this morning. 60s early on. We'll be at about 77 degrees, though, as early as 11 o'clock. And then we'll get into the mid to even upper 80s this afternoon. Denver right around 88. More 70s for the foothills and mountains. Boulder 87, Parker and Aurora some mid to upper 80s. Now this afternoon there will be a slightly better chance for some thunderstorms and even a little severe weather on the eastern plains. We'll take a closer look at that, Jason, coming up here in just a few minutes.
And right now, as you can see overall, the drive looks pretty nice for us here. North, south, east, or west, a pretty easy commute in most areas with all the overnight construction picked up, including along I-70. Saw some lingering road work down here, but it looks good up to the north. It looks like we're all open up that way. 6th Avenue down through the Denver Tech Center. You can see the overall map. Also a lot of green out there, so no big problems. Had a report of a car fire around Downing and Evans. Haven't seen any slowdowns because of it. Out at the airport, security wait time at around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on which line you get into out that way.
Well, finally today, the doors will open to the public on the investigation into the attack on Capitol Hill from last year. The House committee investigating the January 6th riot will reveal its findings live and in prime time.
Lawmakers are hoping to show the American people how democracy came to the brink of disaster, and they say former President Donald Trump is to blame. ABC's M. Wynn kicks off our team coverage from Capitol Hill, and the hearing will feature never-before-seen video and witness testimony, including from Trump's own family members.
Exactly right, Jessica. Brian, good to be here. The January 6th House Select Committee has poured through thousands of records and hours of testimony, all leading up to tonight's opening hearing.
The House Select Committee investigating the deadly January 6th Capitol attack, presenting its mountain of explosive material for the first time in prime time. The panel vows to lay out step by step how former President Donald Trump and his allies did more than provoke and carry out an attack on the Capitol, but deliberately worked to undermine American democracy and overturn his loss in the 2020 presidential election.
The idea that all of this was just a rowdy demonstration that spontaneously got a little bit out of control is absurd.
The committee tonight revealing taped testimony with Trump administration officials, as well as Trump family members.
Ivanka Trump, I'm told, is quite candid about the fact that she she told her father that he needed to do something to get out there to stop the riot.
Lawmakers will also hear from a documentary filmmaker who captured this video showing the Proud Boys leader meeting with the Oath Keepers.
I think people are going to be absolutely surprised how much was known.
Ahead Ahead of the hearing tonight, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is expected to attack the findings of the committee, which Republicans have already called illegitimate and partisan. On Capitol Hill, M. Wynn, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Em. Meanwhile, the fallout from the Capitol riot has led to the largest prosecution in the history of the U.S. Justice Department. More than 800 people have been charged for their involvement.
And those charges range from low-level misdemeanors for those who entered the Capitol to felony seditious conspiracy charges against far-right extremists. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joining us now in the studio. And Colette, you're taking a closer look at the charges that Coloradans are facing.
Guys, there's at least a dozen cases coming out of Colorado, ranging from Trinidad to Telluride, all of them facing charges for their roles in the riot. And for most of them, it's a slew of charges. Some are taking plea agreements, while others are pushing ahead with a trial, like Jacob Clark from Trinidad, whose charges include violent entry to the Capitol and obstruction of justice. His last court appearance was at the beginning of June, and he'll have a status conference at the end of August ahead of a trial. Meanwhile, a Peyton man, Thomas Hamner, is pleading guilty to his charges. He should be sentenced in September. He's charged with civil disorder and assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers using a dangerous weapon, among other things. And you can see here in these screenshots from court documents, that's allegedly Hamner fighting with police. And one of the well-known names in this group, former Olympic swimmer Cleet Keller of Colorado Springs. He pleaded guilty back in September to obstruction of Congress and agreed to fully cooperate with the investigation. He has a virtual court date coming up soon, and even with his plea agreement, faces more than 2 years in prison and anywhere from $10,000 to $95,000 in fines. Now, one of the Coloradans who has already been sentenced for their actions on January 6th and pleaded guilty got home detention, time in community corrections, along with 3 years of probation and a $500 fine. But that's for charges that didn't have any evidence of violent actions on the grounds or inside of the Capitol. Live in the studio, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Colette, thank you. And you can watch the hearing tonight on Denver 7 at 6 p.m. Denver 7 News at 6 will be streaming on Denver 7 Plus and on thedenverchannel.com. A sweeping package of gun control and safety measures is heading to the Senate. The Protecting Our Kids Act includes bills to raise the age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle to 21. It would also make gun trafficking and selling large capacity magazines federal offenses. Plus, the act would strengthen existing regulations on bump stocks and ghost guns. The bill is unlikely to pass, though, in the Senate. It passed the House largely on a party line vote. Each of Colorado's Democratic members voting yes, and all Colorado Republicans voting no.
That House vote, of course, came after gut-wrenching testimony from an 11-year-old survivor of the Uvalde school shooting and the mother of Lexi Rubio, a student who did not make it.
He shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and put it all over me.
We don't want you to think of Lexi as just a number. She was intelligent, compassionate, and athletic. She was quiet, shy unless she had a point to make. So today, we stand for Lexi, and as her voice, we demand action.
Hard to imagine the agony that they have been through. Another witness called by Republicans argues it isn't the guns. Lucretia Hughes lost her 19-year-old son to gun violence.
20 more laws, 1,000 more, won't make what has already illegal more wrong or stop criminals from committing these crimes.
She called for more help addressing mental health and improving school security. Both are being addressed by a bipartisan group in the Senate. One Colorado high school is bringing in new technology to help keep kids and teachers safe. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live because South Park High School in Fairplay is the first in our state to get a particular alert system.
It is, and this is a really unique kind of technology that we're talking about this morning. Specifically, it's a button to help in case of an active shooter. So this is called ASR Threat, and take a look at this video here. This is exactly what this button, this technology looks like for everyone out there who's curious. So its purpose is to bridge communication between a school and law enforcement agencies when there's some sort of emergency. If someone were to push that button, law enforcement would get a notification of some sort immediately. That notification wouldn't just tell them the time the button was pushed, for example. It would get down to the exact room number where that button is and where it was pushed, so police know exactly where to go. Now, there won't just be one of these over at South Park High School. Officials we spoke with told me that for the sake of security, as you can imagine, they don't want to disclose exactly how many of these buttons there are going to be, but they did say they could be on things like walls, on lanyards, and of course some other areas as well. So ASR, that's the company that created this technology, and then Convergent is helping install the necessary technology. It's also the company that made it possible for South Park High to get the tech for free. Listen to why one employee told me this work really does matter.
This system is important because it provides real-time information for responding agencies. So it allows them to have more information in the event of an unplanned security event. Wherever the device is activated in the school, the law enforcement will know, or responding agencies will know exactly where it was activated.
The installation process itself, it's kind of a lengthy one, so Convergent did already start on that. They say they expect to have that all finished, those buttons in place and working by tomorrow. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. And new overnight, President Biden talked about the gun debate in an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Can't you issue an executive order? Trump passed those out like Halloween candy.
Yes, sir. I did.
Isn't that something that could happen?
Well, I have issued executive orders within the power of the presidency to be able to deal with these, everything having to do with guns, gun ownership, whether or not you have to have a waiting, all the things that are within my power. But what I don't want to do, and I'm not being facetious, I don't want to emulate Trump's abuse of the Constitution and constitutional authority.
President Biden later said he's more optimistic than ever. He said that young people are the best educated, least prejudiced, and most giving generation in American history.
Movie theater favorite is now in short supply, while you might be a little salty about your next big screen experience.
And the curtain goes up for the first time tonight for Moulin Rouge, the musical. We're talking to the Colorado native coming home for this unforgettable performance.